Good morning. Now, it looks pretty grey and miserable outside. Just deceptive. Can't see it, but there are blue skies out there at the top. So, let's go find them.
So the sun was out and shining, and I set off to explore the streets of Malaga. While the air had that sweet morning freshness, it was still pretty warm and everything was lovely and bright. But I hadn't eaten since I was at the airport, and so I was pretty hungry. So I set off on an exploration, and I figured I could probably find something to eat. I knew from a little bit of research that there was a lovely plaza just around the corner, and so I headed there. When I reached this lovely plaza, I found that it was full of these amazing purple trees. And I did a little bit of research while I was editing, and I found out that these are called jacaranda trees. After checking out the plaza, I headed down one of the side roads in search of new things. I found this amazing church, and next to it was a lovely little bakery. Inside were a few items that would make a pretty good breakfast, but the building itself was also really beautiful. I also got a quick clip of this statue outside the church, and then I picked up some breakfast. I kept on wandering around the town, and then I found some essentials. But as I turned the corner, I was met with the most amazing sight. I had accidentally stumbled upon Malaga Cathedral. I mean, look at this. We're a big fan of cathedrals on this channel. This one's pretty cool. I checked out a few of the gardens surrounding the cathedrals, and these were lovely. And then I continued on with my exploration of the city. I began to head down to the port, and these purple jacaranda trees were everywhere. On my way to the port, I headed through Malaga Park, and it's a pretty nice park. I had to cross a few roads, but these roads look pretty nice. Imagine driving a convertible down here. After crossing the road, there was an extra layer of park to walk through. And after crossing through that, I had reached the coast. There were a ton of massive ships down here. And so I wandered along the port, looking at all the different sights. Eventually I found the centre of the port, but I decided I needed to be a little bit more tactical in my wandering. And so I found a map to help me. After looking at the map, I made a plan and I set off. I found this pretty cool bullfighting arena, which I couldn't really get a good view of, but I did manage to find a great view of this later on. But after a short wander, I decided what my plan was for the day. I was going to have to get as high as possible. Not like that, I mean vertically. At the top of the cliffs you can see in this shot here, there was actually 2 castles. It was going to be quite the walk to get up to the top, and so I headed back to the hotel room to prepare for my hike. So after applying a heavy dose of sun cream, it was off on my walk to get as high up as possible. And here you can see one of the 2 castles and in front of it you can see a Roman amphitheatre. I don't know if it's an amphitheatre or just a theatre, but it was pretty cool, and the purple jacaranda trees had left some, I guess, pretty cool blossoms on the floor. It looked almost like a purple carpet. After checking out the Roman theatre, I began my walk up the hill. It was a pretty long walk, but there were tons of amazing sights as I went up the hill. I got a pretty good look at this castle, which is absolutely amazing. There's also so much greenery around it. I mean, look at this view. There's sort of a tiered garden area with this little balcony here, just surrounded by nature. There was also a pretty cool fountain off to the side of this. But as I climbed the hill, I found a tunnel area. And inside the tunnel area, there were two men, one with a guitar and one with a flute, and they were playing some beautiful music. But as I moved away from the two men in the tunnel, there was a different musician slightly further up the hill. I continued my walk up the hill, and with each step, the view just kept getting better and better. Here you can see the mountains in the distance, the port, and all the beautiful buildings in the town. After about 10 minutes, my walk was complete and I'd reached the top of the hill. There was a pretty cool car park here. Don't know why I just described a car park as cool. More importantly, the castle was up here. The castle looked pretty cool from the outside, but it was open pretty late, and so I wanted to head back down the hill to see if there was anything else I could do during the day. I also found this pretty cool tree. It looks kind of like peas in what it's growing, but I don't really know what it is, so let me know if you know. There was also a guy playing some lovely music on the violin. Honestly, all the music made the walk so much more amazing, although it was pretty steep. So I got one last look at the two castles, which I'd be coming back to later, and then I headed into the town. There was some kind of protest going on, but I just walked past and got myself an ice cream. I found some pretty amazing areas, including this lovely plaza here. It was filled with authentic Spanish businesses like Starbucks. Why are they everywhere? But there was something I found on Google Maps that I wanted to check out. Google Maps told me there was an authentic Spanish market closing soon, and so I went in to check it out. It was pretty busy and there were loads of people, and so I didn't film in there, but there was loads of really cool food, sort of like hams and fish and things like that. And on the way out I found a few cool buildings, but then decided to try some of the local food. Found a nice quiet restaurant on one of the side roads, and I ordered myself some food. I got some mussels in a tomato sauce, and then I got some paella. I wasn't quite sure what to do with the massive prawn on top, but it was pretty good. It was also a pretty relaxing place to have some food. And on my way back from the restaurant, I found another angle of the cathedral. I learned from a tour guide that they don't actually have a roof, and they're currently building one. There are so many amazing buildings in Europe that still aren't finished yet, and this is just another one of them. So I decided to tackle the giant hill again and go up to the castle. This time I brought a drink with me so I wouldn't get too dehydrated. I slowly made my way up the hill, and it was much warmer than before, but the view was just as good. I also found a better view of the bullfighting arena I showed you earlier. You can see inside now, and it's pretty cool. I also managed to get this lovely view of the cathedral, the mountains, the port, and everything in between.
Yo, where are the cats? There should be like cats in here. You know, free cats. Free kitty. Wow. Donde?
But after pondering on the presence of cats, I headed into the castle. As I walked into the castle, I was greeted by a pretty cool cannon, and then I walked through some of the gardens to get to the wall. I climbed on top of the wall and walked along it, and there were some wonderful views. There was also some kind of concert going on in one of the nearby stadiums. Now I'm not sure who was playing, but maybe you do, maybe you can recognise it.
If you know what band that is, please let me know.
So I headed to the top of this tower, and there were some pretty amazing views all around. I was able to get a pretty good look at the cathedral as well.
Something of bread. Worms of bread. Olives. Morals and morons. Oranges. Grenades. Not allowed that one on YouTube.
After looking around most of the castle, I took a short break and got a quick drink.
Definitely copyrighted music in the background, but I got a Coke.
I also found this pretty cool map with light up buttons that light up to show you each of the areas on the map. And after my short break, I began to look around the last few parts of the castle, including this front wall, which had some amazing views of the dock area. I then also saw these beautiful flags flying in the wind. Not bad at all for a quick exploration of the castle. And so with that, my exploration of the castle was finished. But as I headed down the mountain, I was in for quite the surprise.
There, on that rock, a cat. And next to it, approaching slowly, another one. There are indeed cats in Spain. Meow. Well, many cats. Hello.
So I checked out the castle and had managed to see some cats. But now it was time for the second castle on the way down.
Oh, Tower of the Horn. Alright, you've got to have your feather falling boots because you can take full damage here. Especially if you're scared of heights. Alright. Purple trees again. Very cool. Insert full damage sound effect. That's like a cool rooftop bar there. I'm a British person, I've been in the sun, so I'm on half a heart, so 3 meter drop, 3.5, 4, whatever it is, dunzo. I have to use my post office insurance. Now that is nice. Look at all those trees. Bunch of towers over here. The entrance. And then the theatre. And then the rooftop bar again. After all these years, we finally found a use for quartz pillars. Door of the columns. Door of the columns. Column is female. Oh, interesting. You can see the oranges that have fallen off the tree down there. This is kind of cool. It's like a foot tall. You'd have to do like a mud brick wall for that. It would still be way too big. There's a rooftop bar again. You just got a glimpse of the mountains through that street there. Ooh. Great TV show. Not an infinite water source. This cool cactus and also fear of heights. There's probably some sand underneath there, you know. If you put a fence on top of that, it won't get this high. Stones. This must come from somewhere. The pot thickens. Oh, the world border. Okay, we may have found the top. Hello. Even higher than the fountain is this, which might be why the water is not drinkable. Feel bad for a goat that steps in it. Torre de Maldonado. Tower of Maldonado. Oh, the moss has almost become part of that design. archway inside an archway with an archway on the other side. But if you look in here, so there's another archway. I guess kind of. Someone inside. Huh? Probably not. Cellar, room, armadura, like military. Wow, okay. That was garden with the undrinkable water. We've got some lovely windows there as well. I nearly missed this ceiling. Wow. Vending machine. Everywhere you look in this place, it's wonderful. Archway. No swivel ones. Looks like the kind of place they'd like film Game of Thrones or something. Maybe they did. And there we have it. We've just completed all the way around there. So, anything else? A few more walls. A couple more towers. I think that's it. Alright, let's get down.
As I was leaving the castle, I found a pretty cool second pathway, which I hadn't gone down, and there I was able to find a lovely cafe to take a break.
So apparently I'm Francisco. We always have really generic British names. I guess this is a generic Spanish name, Francisco. Okay, no way. It's a hedgehog. Not the pigeon. There's a hedgehog. I'm not going to disturb that. That is so cool. Didn't know they had hedgehogs in Spain. Bro's just chilling. Dude, go on, you can do it. Make it back into the hedge. No, bro's vibing. You could just step on that and you wouldn't know, but you'd feel really bad. If you weren't wearing shoes, you'd know, but... Yeah, look at bro. Bro's just getting places. Just looking at the rocks and stuff. I wonder if he's looking for something. Maybe someone. He's going to go down there. Don't go into the drain.
Two people headed up the pathway, so I had to stop filming, but I did learn afterwards that the name for a hedgehog in Spanish is erizo. It might be more erizo, I don't know. I'm not sure on the pronunciation, but there's the spelling. But with my exploration done for the day, I thought it was time to find somewhere to eat some dinner. I headed back to the plaza near my Airbnb and I found a restaurant in which I could have some food. I found a table and then I asked for a menu. I decided I was going to go for a pizza with some serrano ham. And I also decided that I was going to get something to drink. Of course, being British, I only got one fruit juice, nothing else. This is a fruit juice YouTube. It's a lovely fruit juice. And my pizza arrived, and that was pretty good. And after finishing my just fruit juice, I of course got another just fruit juice. Of course, I only had 2 fruit juices, I didn't have any more. Yeah. But with that, day 2 was done. I headed back to the hotel and went to bed in preparation for day 3. Here's what I got up to. If you don't want to miss part 3, make sure you're subscribed. We actually do go inside the cathedral.